but I don't know.
Emergency broadcast getting torpedoed.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Fucking rendezvous.
Oh, yay! Silverback Stacker can hear us. Good. Okay, we are live. What's
right.
up, everybody? We are just like we're so excited. We're like, yo, let's get live. And you know, sometimes when you rush things, they're choppy. What up, heroes? Yeah, what's going on, Sohail? So shit is volatile. Let's take a look. I want to make sure we're just not hearing our producer, so we're having all kinds of fun over here on the audio front, as usual. It's usually a little bit like if you rush. So our usual routine is to sit here in the dot doing good. Yeah, I know, I saw that. Kind of wish I would have bought that. Okay, I'm gonna share screen. Let's just get. Here we are. Bear with us. I have got my screen on. Couldn't tell you if we're gonna get it live here. We're gonna get the big screen. So we're just. Oh my god. Something happened to our trading view feed. Oh my gosh, classic. Come on, TV.
It's just
yeah. Okay. So you're seeing my screen. Yeah. Look at like, yeah, sky's falling today, but holy shit. I mean, some nice levels we're hitting now. And that's part of why I wanted to go live, everybody. I just was like, you know, we're coming into some key levels. And I think sometimes when these things happen, and I'll explain sort of what I'm talking about. Like, okay. So yesterday, coming into the stream, this was our day. Right? And everyone's getting a little nervous, but you're like, okay, we're at the range lows. What do I do? Like, whatever, just chill, hold, cool your jets. And then last night, big here, swing failure pattern. And then another dump this morning. And it's like, oh shit, you know, oh, I should have sold. What do I do? And, you know, and then we get through this trend line and then we're down here. And then just now, this dump is like, well, for sure I'm selling. And that's where you get that panic. But that was the sweep of the range lows. It's the last place during this kind of thing that I want to rush to sell. I mean, yeah, if you think that this thing just got pinpricked and we are, you know, really headed down, let's look at the daily. You know, if you think like, yeah, we're going to go down, fill that gap 9,600 on the CME, cool. But is this like after this candle and that candle, like, is this the spot to cut everything? Like, probably not. So I saw that and I was like, going to put out a tweet and I was like, you know what, we're in the lab, we're talking about this shit. Let's just go live, hang out. So good to see you guys. Thanks for coming by. We don't have our usual program kind of like template prepared with all this special stuff. We're just here to hang and talk charts. And really this on a high time frame, like this is, it's a sick move today, no doubt. And it hurts. Yeah. You know, I hate it. I think my old job, like half a year's salary just like evaporated in numbers in my computer today. So like it's not realized losses or gains. It's actually just gains disappearing to an extent. But like, you know, so I feel your pain. But
I got short, so I'm actually pretty happy about this.
You're fired up. Yeah, no, you're short, son of a bitch. You know, I don't think like, again, I'm back to a place on my port probably where it was like last Tuesday. So like it's not too painful. But when you really look at the hard numbers,
since a week ago,
it's never fun to wake up to this if you're not like in some balls deep short like Nick, fancy pants. But whatever. Yeah, I'm not too worried. Now, yesterday afternoon, I want to find my little SXP chart because this is, let's see if it broke the lows. I don't think it did actually. So this is what I talked about on stream yesterday, was the idea of like, you know, get that big dirty bounce, but wait for this RLZ. And as you can see this morning, it actually did fill here. It just filled really nicely off the sweet spot and bounced, but then failed. It didn't make a new high, crapped out. My stop loss is about as sweaty as it could be. Let's see. This was my wick low stop loss. That's 201.01. And this low was 201.5. So ask me if my stop loss is a sweat today. It is. And but that's how you got to trade. We'll see. So if this breaks, I'm gonna eat shit on that one, unfortunately. But for now, I'm gonna really nice fill on something. And if Bitcoin does bounce here, and ETH BTC still looks kind of strong. Look at that. Still at that bullish retest level. It didn't really crap out.
Yeah.
And ETH USD, same kind of thing. Right down here onto a candle body high level. So I guess my TLDR is like, even our producer Johnny's just like, I was thinking about, clipping like 30% of my ETH. And I was like, dude, not at 400.
Not like this.
Not like this. So do whatever you want. No financial advice, but like, he's my friend. So I'm like, as your friend, I'm just going to say, don't do the easy thing right now, which is like, suddenly now we're bearish. Like, oh, I'm going to cut everything.
I think this goes back to speaking to what we say a lot. It's like you want trade plans to be proactive rather than reactionary in a high stress situation. High, emotions are running high for exactly situations like this.
Exactly. And you took it a step further and you're short. You're like, oh, this is a trade that I like. I flip short. I'm making money.
Yeah.
But in my case, like, yeah, I think one of my longs got stopped out today. And a few others are just positions more that I have. And, they haven't really lost any levels. I think OM versus ETH is one that I was and am looking to maybe skim. Like if the sky's falling, and you can see here, I'm actually pretty much at break even versus Ethereum. But like not panic dumping spot Bitcoin at this retest. I mean, that's crazy.
God, the weekly looks fucking bad though.
Yeah, I just mean like, give me a bounce or a bearish retest. Like you always say, right? If we're gonna break this level, give me that. Like I'd rather exit below on a bearish retest than like coming into this support. Just doesn't make sense.
Nobody wants to be the guy selling support levels. It's better to re-short a flip of that support level to resistance.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's a weird market right now. I mean, one green day and everyone's going to be like, "Wah, you didn't buy the dip, you're a bitch." Like it's just going to roar back up and maybe it'll just get like an 11-3 bearish retest here. Who knows? Like it's just not a day to like suddenly shift the plan.
Yeah, like
I knew we were bearish. I'll sell this. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, like from a macro perspective, this stuff's all insanely bullish. From a midterm perspective, we haven't even broke any major levels yet. Ethereum's still above 360. Bitcoin just tagged one of its probably biggest levels to retest here, which is that 10.2 to 10.5.
Yeah, let's pull up your chart.
Sure, yeah, we can go through some things. If we start closing below those levels, yeah, sound the alarms. We're probably headed, another 10, 20% lower. But again, I think the big driver here, yeah, we were due for a correction, but the big driver is definitely, in my opinion, going to be the US dollar, especially going into the election side of things. Let me know when we're good there, Johnny.
Yeah.
All right, we look good. So I guess let's quickly just start off on the total market cap. I was going to tweet out this chart, but I'm just going to post it here. This is kind of like our trade idea moving forward. Ideally, if this retrace continues, we want to see support around that $285 billion market cap. We're going to, if we start moving above that 390, we're going to be targeting that 420 resistance level. I probably expect some consolidation up there. Above that, though, look at the open air. Like this is fucking crypto in a bubble again, right? So this is kind of what I'm looking for on a macro scale. Where we are on these levels are going to influence how I'm taking trades in all the other asset classes, whether it be Bitcoin or the Uniswap pairs and things like that. But you can see with the SPX here as well. Like this is definitely look at the correlations between legacy and crypto. Like we say it a lot. The space is maturing. And that's primarily because the big market participants are institutional legacy background guys, right? So, and again, Bitcoin's just becoming a more macro instrument in traditional finance. So That's exactly what we've been wanting for the last 10 years, and here it is, right? But same thing with the S&P. We've had a terrific fucking high momentum rally, which we talked about. We talked about those. Not something you want to fade. 7%, 7.5% just about on U.S. equities. This thing is, if it's going to come down, it's going to come down and retest this former all-time high level here, 33.80. This is what we've been talking about for a while. If we see this level hold and flip the support and see some consolidation in here, that's pretty bullish. Like, I wouldn't want to be rushing into shorts on the S&P above that. In midterm short swing trades, I wouldn't want to be rushing into anything unless we see failure here, right? But if we see like this thing support, I would want to be getting long again. Could coincide probably with the bottom in crypto as well. However, on the flip side, if we do see failure, like consolidates and then does break down, retests it, confirms lower, this to me would be a big trigger to get really fucking short. Targeting at the very minimum 3,200. Yeah, like literally short your shorts at that point. But again, you're not going to want it at this point. You accept it. You've missed the move on the short side. It's better at this time to be looking for the next levels of support. To potentially, we're going to see if we're going to get trend continuation, which would be confirmed by that nice double bottom, right, and this flipping to support. Or if we are in fact going to see an extended sell-off, which would probably coincide with a rally across the U.S. dollar, and then crypto would also be headed lower to our lower targets. But let's take a close look at the U.S. dollar. People have been calling doom and death to the U.S. dollar quickly and imminently for the past few months here, and I agree. Inflation's not a good thing, but this is long-term stuff. Look at the M2 money supply. And the increases of that versus the actual increases in inflation. It's slow to react, and sometimes it doesn't react at all because there's actually a high underlying demand for US dollars. What do you think happened here? There was a huge shortage in USD, right? So if we see something very similar again, you fucking bet this thing is going to spike again, at least to a minimum 95. And where's everything else going to go? It's going down. So we're going to keep an eye on this channel. That's the idea there. Taking a quick look now at Ethereum. Again, nothing really too severe here right now. It doesn't look great. Swing failure pattern, took the highs, came into this major level that we had plotted on our weekly for literally fucking months at this point.
Check the 4 hour. We just had a 4 hour close. Let's see if we can glean any information from that. Maybe a little wick back up. Did it get an ugly close? I just got
a pretty ugly close.
Basically,
that's a pretty small wick.
So not a great close on the 4 hour.
No,
that's what you're telling me.
No, not right now. But again, look at this volume node here, right? Like this is a big level here for intraday trading and stuff. Throwback retest right around here, right? You can see this. Not only did it act as a spring for what was that, like a 10% move or something? Yeah, 15% move on momentum there, supported, and it failed. So if we see something like this over the next 4 to 6 hours, if we see the price come back up here and it rejects, this is your new short entry right up here. However, if we see a close above this and then it supports again off it, that's actually your long entry. So you can see how this level, we call it the pivot point, can actually serve as both an entry to the short side or an entry to the long side. It's basically going to confirm the next major market expansion from this intraday trading range, right? So that's a good tool that I use in my own trading. It's keep in mind there. But let's take a quick look at Bitcoin 4 hour as well. This is a really beautiful chart, completely unaltered, just God tier. Technical analysis does work, level charting here. 12,100 key resistance, right? Yeah. Triple top, head fake.
It's almost like a lot of people were looking at that chart and seeing something similar.
Exactly. And then, it's the...
Yeah, well, okay. Let's flip to my chart. I see I can't actually see what chart is live for some reason. Rendezvous is just buffering for me on the backside here, but
Okay.
so I'm waiting on the YouTube delay to see what's live. But anyways, I'm
This is a
assuming I'm
key level
live.
for Bitcoin as well.
Johnny on the spot. Okay, so like this, what I'm seeing here on Ethereum. We just got, like, again, just taking this nice new structure we had here, pivot down. I mean, 786. This is the sick thing. And I'm guilty of this too. Like I'll get caught up in some other time frames. Like, God, I'm looking at so many charts all the time, reading lately like white papers and talking, looking into new projects. That's taking up a lot of my bandwidth. But like on a brass tacks level, there's a lot of traders I know, and it's just like, we're just hunting those 786s. In this case, confluent with the VPVR node, confluent with this breakout level. I wish I could sit here and say I was doing that and I caught this. So that's fine. But like, as far as, again, to my buddy who's thinking about selling his ETH here, no. In a nutshell, I would say no, don't do it. It was like $480 like 16 hours ago. You didn't want to sell it, is what I would say to him. I know he can actually hear me. He's our producer, but I can't hear him back. But like, it's like, so you didn't want to sell here. Now you're bearish. And that's how the market takes your money. People were bearish here. A lot of selling. I mean, not a lot of volume selling here, but I know there was definitely a lot of like nosebleedy, like I'm just going to get the hell out. Screw it. Squeezed up. Maybe even people buying back there. So this is the volatility. This is how you lose money. Yes, you want to short this thing. Like Nick said, there's some levels we can get retests up around 428, maybe even like just somewhere in here. Might even be, that's probably a 380. Let's see what that is. Because I'm with you, man. If there's a short to be had, I'll take it. Like I'm not Mr. has to be perma bull, but I'm certainly not trying to, like you said, the trade is gone. So I think, what is this? Yeah, 382. So look, we've been talking about the pump chaser for a bit. Let's talk about the dump chaser. It goes both ways, right? It's really just the way that the trends can work. So you're down here. And then off that bottom move, that's your dump chaser zone. Actually, this is getting a little nasty with the ink. So let's back up the ink a bit, and I'll show anyone here. Like again, this is what I always say. Like here, it's like, okay, well, if you really want to short, and you're not just shorting, because it's down, but you're actually like, okay, no, this is going to be bearish. Like not, because it has been for a couple days now. But you're betting that it will continue to be, then there's a play here, probably up at least in here. And very possibly, because again, we are in this macro bull, and as soon as this bounces, the sentiment will change just as it does in chop. I bet there's probably a chance we could even get right up. I mean, if we really are bearish, probably won't get all the way up to this short RLZ. But I could totally see us testing this level again, even getting front run a bit. So things to keep in mind. I think it's hard not to feel the squeeze on a day like today, because it's just like, this just sucks. You're like, oh man, we were so bullish just yesterday. It was just like
what happened?
Oh yeah, but this is just price moving around. Nothing's really changed with Ethereum. Nothing's really changed with Bitcoin. There was no like new information that we know about, at least. So anyways, cool your jets, chill out. This is really just a recheck of this breakout level, a recheck of this RLZ. Very standard stuff, even in an uptrend. And so I think if I was looking for higher time frame stuff, you got to zoom out. I still see something like this, to be honest, even after today. Like I just think we're going to rally. Personally, leaning towards a rally up into the elections. So looking at Nick's levels on the S&P, things like the NASDAQ, those are important, the Dixie, because they're definitely going to have a little bit to do with this. I think this is a beautiful level for, like, if I had a friend for the last, like, since this big breakout, what is that, July 28th. So like since beginning of August, I've had a friend who's like, man, I really want to buy some crypto. And I was like, yeah, just chill, man, because it always dumps. It'll eventually always dump somewhere. And this is probably the day where I'd be like, yeah, go scoop up your first dollar cost average, get him into crypto, get him into the market. And if it's touch and go, then he's laughing. And if it's dump some more, then it's like your next is probably that 96. And crypto being crypto, we're talking about 786s. Let's get into the real nitty gritty. I know y'all don't want to hear it, but if this happened, I would probably, I'd probably have the same thing up. Be like, holy shit, look at that. We got levels down here too. And people might say, well, how is that ever going to happen? Yeah, okay. Yeah, oh shit, I'm doxxed. Would like to know, explain shorting in simple terms. We can go over that. This is not out of the question. I'm not going to it's such a brutal thing to say on like a bearish day to be like, we could go to 6K, but like you just have to accept that the market's going to do whatever it wants. And you just, you've got to be kind of open to all possibilities. I think it's low probability from here, at least, that we would go down to this level. But if it happened, I'd be like, oh, look at that. Tag the fib, hit the RLZ. Pretty standard. It seems a little crazy right now, and I don't think it's going to happen. But if we start losing levels, I mean, there's a lot to happen between that. So just something to keep in mind. Like, would this ruin your life? Would your significant other leave you if price hit this? You should probably check in with yourself then, right? Don't do that. Don't set yourself up for that kind of shit. I would hate if prices all came back down to here. I would hate it. I'd feel bad, but I'd be okay. I'd figure it out. I would be probably available. Like I'd be able to buy some. I wouldn't be liquidated. So keeping all that shit in mind, I think a bounce here makes a lot of sense for today. If I had to be a crystal ball specialist, I would say we're done for this day. My 2 cents. Now, shorting in simple terms. I will do my best on the fly. Here we go. If I take a long position on something, just say I buy down here. I'm long on it, which means I am owning it and I'm betting that it will go up. I have to buy to open my position. Okay. Betting price goes up. And I have to sell to close position. Okay. Shorting means selling to open position. Betting price goes down. And I have to buy to close my position. So if I can clean that up a little. And this, you know what? For anyone watching who's like, man, it's so obvious. Like I remember when I didn't quite understand that. It's early 2017, and I was like, oh, you can do that. So when you're shorting something, you're going short. You are selling, say at 12K, like a G, 12.5, and you're selling to open your position, which means you have to borrow. If you don't own any of the asset, just say I want to go short, I don't know, Tesla stock. I don't own any Tesla. I mean, if I did own some, I could just sell it and then try to buy it back and capture that gain in between, the difference. But if I don't own, just say, any Bitcoin, or I'm sitting in Tether on Binance futures, I can borrow from them using leverage, using margin, and I can sell the asset that I don't even own. I can have, just say I have 1,000 Tether sitting in my account. I can sell 2 Bitcoin, say on 20x leverage, whatever. I'm not recommending any of this, by the way. If you're asking how to short, today is not the day to go try it. But it's a good day to start learning because it's the day of the week and it's always a good day to learn. So shorting something is basically you're just betting on price will go down. So you are opening your position by selling, whether that's through margin or selling your spot. And you're doing that in anticipation that at some time in the near future, you can buy it back at a cheaper price, repay what you borrowed, right? So I borrow 2 Bitcoin just so that I can sell them. I buy those 2 Bitcoin back at a cheaper price, and then I repay the loan, the margin, and then I get to keep all of that space in between. That volatility that I captured is mine. That's my profit. The thing with shorting that's risky is if I'm wrong and I borrow 2 Bitcoin here to sell them and price goes up, I'm on the hook for those. I owe Binance, or whatever, in this case, I'll use Binance. I owe them 2 Bitcoin and I have to repay them. So at some point I have to buy those back. If I buy them back cheaper, I make money. If I buy them back more expensive, I lose money. And there's sort of infinite loss potential with shorting because, with the other way, when you're long, something can only go to zero unless you're oil in May 2020, right? But with shorting, the price could just go up infinitely, and eventually you get liquidated because the amount you borrowed versus the margin you put up, the space there runs out, and they say fuck it, and they close your position. They take their money back plus a tiny fee. You lose all your margin. That's why you hear about people getting liquidated. So, hope that helped. In a nutshell, real short, quick and dirty on what the hell we're talking about. Now, let's see dominance. Bearish retest, nothing too crazy. Still a gift in my opinion, even though it sounds a little nuts. I think again, look, this is the VP. This is sick. This is the VPVR value high, basically, right at this level.
Yeah.
We've got some location objectives for this. If I was in a short, this would be my first take profit. Would have been like 10.5 because that's just such a sick
it has to be
retest level. We got the VPVR value high, meaning 70% of the volume traded was traded in this zone. So like the value high and the value low of this colored area can count as like a support resistance. And then we've got this level here. So I do think this looks bearish, and I do think this is likely the market saying we're going to roll over here, and on the higher time frames we're just ready to top for a bit. Again, this is just a bounce point for me. So I will be looking for potential skims on July and August profits and maybe trying to get some hedging in. But we've really run down sort of what that short entry might look like. And it's hard to predict beyond that. I mean, we've got to let this unfold. I'll tell you one really good piece of news. We do have some bullish divergence. So we had selling here. Lots of volume coming in. Big panic at the disco. Probably some liquidations. Then the MACD was making a real deep, dirty low. Lots of momentum. Then we bounced really, kind of weak. No buyers stepped in. And then we sold off again, sweeping. Well, let's go way back here. Sweeping this old wick low, capturing all that liquidity. But it was on less volume. And as you can see, the MACD made a higher low, as did the Stoke, as did the RSI. So we've got bullish divergences on the 15-minute here.
Oh boy.
Again, further to the thesis for me that this is our bounce spot for the day. I mean, remember, if anyone was watching a couple of weeks ago or over the last few weeks, if you guys have been tuning in, and I've talked about this ad nauseum, the idea that, we had this like strong trending up. This wick on August 2nd put a big shock in the market. It's like, hey, fuck you. We're not a big trend right now. And then we shocked. And again, saying like what I was saying is that's going to shock us into a range for Bitcoin, some consolidation, just like this did right here, right? We had a big sexy trend. Everyone's making money. We had a big breakout here. It just looks so bullish. Your face wanted to blow up. It was like at 8K, something just below 8. Yep. And then it was this shock. I think it was like a Thursday night. It was May 9th. It's funny how you remember these weird things that just stick in your brain. But it was this shock in the market that kicked us into the range, and it fucked up the trend, right? And then it was just range, fake out, range, right? Well, same kind of thing here. There we go. Same thing here. Trending up. FU, we're not a trend anymore. We're going to go range, and it's just been range. Even got the same fucking fake out, and then it was just range highs the other day. Now we just swept range lows. So, and it's crazy, not crazy. It's interesting how friggin' effective this is at making you lose money. Like how many, everyone raise your hand if you feel like you wish you sold yesterday. Maybe you wish you sold the day before. And today, more than ever, you're thinking about selling some position that's down underwater or even in smaller gains than it was, right? The market will play games with you. And again, I can't guarantee it's not just going to tank through here and keep going. But my bet, if I was trading, is that this sweep of the range lows is going to mark the end of this big FU shakeout. And everyone who sold today and got washed out and liquidated is going to have a very stressful few days following, because they're all going to be like, oh my God, I sold the bottom. And then, and we'll just continue to range for a little bit. Yeah. So that's it. That's the main rant that I have right now. I think I would like to get my
I
equilibrium.
personally think we're headed lower. Just to be the
Yeah.
contrarian.
No,
And the only reason why is because we're still so early in the trade day. And until legacy markets close or we see a positive reaction in legacy markets, I
yeah.
think there will be a little continued pressure. But if we do see a bounce in legacy over the next 3.5 hours, then yeah, like I think this thing it's a fantastic fucking level to. If it's going to bounce anywhere, it's here.
Well, I mean, even if it wasn't like okay, because you could be right, but look, even if we are going to break these range lows, there was going to be a bounce here.
Yeah.
You're going to sweep these lows. You're going to have people who are trading the range, like I'm talking about. And I don't mean like a couple guys. Like there's going to be whales. There's going to be big players trying to put this range sweep play in, defending their level. And the question now is, will the Bears or the Bulls who will win this battle? Who will outweigh? There was going to be a battle at this level no matter what, pretty much. Ooh, Fingerprint Organite likes your voice, Nick.
I've heard it before.
Says your voice. Says you have a sexy voice. So like, yeah, I think you're right that like no matter what, there was going to be a battle at this level. For now, let's see how it plays out. That's why I would zoom into like lower time frames if I really wanted to dig into this. But if they fail here, if whoever's longing this range low fails, I mean, what a sick like you could take. You could do whatever you want. I could take a long here and be very confident that if we lose this like 10,450 level, this low here, that that's a great invalidation. We're going lower.
Yeah.
But until we touch this low here, this is a range low sweep, and it's time to, certainly just I don't say what a time to do, but it's definitely not time to rush and exit.
No, I think like the market for Bitcoin right now, I just put the tweet out, needs to reclaim that 10-2 level. If we can get above there, I'll probably flip my intraday tone to a little bit more bullish and
Yeah, I hope. As your friend, I hope you took some profits on your short here. I'm sure you're up quite.
I just trail stops in situations like this.
Ooh, maybe you could walk us through that. Do you want to share that alpha with the masses today?
Basically, the idea is just that it follows the price down. So the stop loss isn't going to trigger it unless it comes back at you based on a percentage or dollar value that you input. And so that way you don't have to, you're still going to catch the meat of the move and you're still going to be able to lock in profits.
Yeah.
But you're not
trailing stop loss is
closing early.
Trailing stop loss is a tricky thing to master. I think a lot of people, a lot of traders, even if they understand the tool itself, having an effective strategy for applying it so that it comes up, hits your trailing stop loss, and then just continues without you is probably what happens a lot. So mastering how to use a trailing stop loss helps you can catch like big moves and trends is really nice. Really good for trend traders. Range traders, not so much. This is a range. This is a range. I'm calling it right now. If you want to see a high time trend reversal, it's still, very much possible what we're seeing right now, but it's not confirmed until we lose this range low, which suddenly 10.5. I wanted this to be range low back up here at 11, right? I had it drawn up that way before, but reality is.
Oh my God.
Well,
I just looked at the Bitcoin wrap to Ethereum. Thing just fucking mooned overnight. Another 5,000.
Pull us up. Pull us up. Switch us over, Johnny. Let's get on there.
Got to see this. Like the demand is just skyrocketing. It's unbelievable. 64,135 total BTC wrapped on Ethereum right now.
What's the billion? What's your billion prediction looking like?
Really strong. Probably going to hit it in the next 60 days at this. Probably 30 days at this rate. Where would that CME chart be? Let's take a quick look at the Uniswap swap info.
Yeah, let's see how Uniswap. Probably crazy volume. In dumps, you get a lot of volume too. Obviously, volatility usually causes exchanges to make a lot of money.
We're at 607 million right now.
I mean, I made the most heinously obvious statement just now. Volatility causes exchanges to make money, but It's the idea that like you'll see massive volume spikes on big dumps and big pumps.
Look
It's
at
everybody
that.
jockeying for position, right? Over trading.
24-hour volume, 913 million. Woo!
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
They peaked at over $1 billion, I thought the other day. No, 800.
Yeah, very, very close. I think it's like
It was the
950.
liquidity I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, the liquidity pool's up actually, fucking 6% today, $1.9 billion.
Again, yeah, I
And
know. I just tweeted out.
this is what we're talking about. The amount of like Bitcoin is helping fuel this as people rush to capture yield and like the Bitcoin's not at risk, right? Because well, technically it is at risk through not using trustless solutions, but it's not at market risk at the very least for margin traders.
Why is that?
Because you can't use it as collateral anymore to margin trade. I guess if you blow your wrapped Ethereum, I guess that'd be the equivalent of losing it. But you're not gonna fucking lose it on BitMEX. Liquidation engine, you will not reach you over there.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, they're making money differently.
Like the long-term vision of like Bitcoin for I think for a lot of people was being able to leverage the asset in a risk-free manner. Well, minimizing risk as much as possible through lending. Probably like that was my primary goal. I think a lot of other holders and stuff. And only now is that really becoming less risky with insurance and trusted custody parties and things like that. But clearly, a lot of people don't want to wait for that. They don't want to do KYC. They just want to capture insane yields from the traditional lenders. You're only going to get like 6-7%. That's still good, right? It's way better than a bank, but like who cares about 6-7% when you could be farming 1,000%, 2,000% APYs.
900,000% kimchi.
Yeah, just totally unsustainable. By the way, like
can't say I bought any. You actually did some farming, didn't you, on kimchi? Did you buy any?
I did, but I didn't farm it. I bought it, and that's because I found it really early on, like an hour after it launched. So it's only had like under 2 million TLV, which is total locked value in it. 8 hours later, that thing's over 200 million TLV and $21 million in volume. Like, and it 3x. Like, the key is on those to get in early. Otherwise, you're going to it's really bad to buy the tokens because you're going to get dumped on by the yield farmers. And this stuff was unlocking so fast, like every 15 minutes. So as more and more people got into it to capture the APYs, it puts more and more sell pressure and more inflation on coin issuance.
Well, and then people sell.
They sell for the massive fucking gains.
Yeah, they sell the kimchi that they're farming, and then it just takes the price.
But the liquidity providers in those pools can get wrecked, and people buying the tokens could get wrecked if you buy it at the wrong time. Just I don't like highly inflationary things by nature, by default. Like Grin, perfect example of that. Which was just another POW coin that launched.
Yeah, Grin was one that was kind of like TLDR was like, well, let's just wait because this thing is just going to inflate and the miners are going to sell pressure the shit out of it for a while. Stefan is here to shill his Esprit bag. Should we pull that chart up and appease him?
Why not?
Hell yeah, Steph. Let's take a look at Esprit. This is one that you guys were looking into when I was running audio checks on our stream, so I actually didn't really get a bag, and I'm sad because it's friggin' lifting your guys' life up right now. I'm happy for you though, but I feel FOMO. I think it was 80 cents, 85 cents at that pre-sale. You're on screen here. Do you have an Esprit chart? It's on Uniswap Vision, or I can pull it up.
Oh yeah, wow! It fucking broke range today finally.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm looking at the delay. There you go. Esprit, yeah, rallying.
No way Esprit holds up if fucking the majors go down though. Zero chance.
Well, what do you mean down? Like down from here? Down more?
Yeah. Down more. Esprit will more than likely be retesting this $30 level. And honestly, if it supports here again, this will be a perfect resistance support flip. I'd probably buy it.
Nice. Okay, John L scooped Esprit at $15. Damn it, Stefan, 83 cents. You son bitch. Nice grab, bro. Really
But in
nice.
reality, I'll be looking for something like that. This is like literally the trademark of this stream at this point. Just a white top
Retest,
throwback.
retest, retest. See, and this is why I know you're in a short, and so I always tease you because like we do our analysis, and you're like, "No, we're going down." I'm like, "Yeah, bro, your shorts are showing. I can tell you're biased as hell." But like, show me the Bitcoin chart right now, and tell me you don't see this friggin' bullish retest that you always talk about. And why are you not taking profit on your shorts, sir? I'm gonna advise you into this. I'm gonna pressure you.
Like no, definitely see it, and I have taken a little bit of profit off the table on Bitcoin. But again, like Ethereum and Bitcoin are totally different charts right now. Like Ethereum is performing much stronger than Bitcoin.
Yes.
I think we've been noting this for a few days now. So like this extended weakness in Bitcoin just makes sense. So now then we pair that with confidence of look at this. This is an hourly S&P. Like, yikes. So you pair that with the confluence of what we see happening in the legacy markets right now, and you can see how these pair together and they just increase in momentum, right? So Bitcoin was already looking weak, and then all of a sudden you get the USD moving up a little bit, equities sliding. There's a correlation, I guess, there right now. So it adds fire. It adds gas to that fire. But with Bitcoin right now, yeah, like this is a fucking terrible spot to be getting short on Bitcoin. I know, I put out a couple tweets there to check sentiment, and people are buying this range, and you can't bash them for that. This is literally what we always talk about on the bearish throwback.
Yeah, I guess in your defense, because I'm giving you a hard time because we always talk about it, and it is a beautiful setup. And looking back, it's so easy to spot. Here we are live in the moment. You're still short at that sort of bullish retest, I guess. But I was gonna say, in your defense, like you always talk about that second tap.
Yeah. Like I would get out of this short if we close above this 11.1, 11.2 range. However, I would, if we see weakness up there, like this, right? I would be adding to those shorts, expecting this to definitely dip back down to 9,600.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's good to clarify. In this case, obviously, I'm calling bounce. Easy for me to say. I'm not in a trade right now. I mean, I'm in my spot. I'm just certainly not closing anything. I feel like a broken record with all this time. We do so much analysis, and I'm like, yo, like I'm not in this trade. I'm not in that because I'm just honestly lately I'm just so busy. My head's spinning with new projects and white papers in my little bits of off time, and then just doing content and calls and all these things. So unfortunately, not as process oriented around my futures account right now, which is is a damn shame because when we come on here, a lot of the times I look back a week later, I'm like, oh yeah, look at that short came right in like we talked about. Oh, look at that long, like, and I still think like over the long weekend we're gonna get a big rally up to at least. Let's go back to my chart. We're gonna get a rally up to like at least. Where's my range at? Range EQ. There we go. Like, yeah, fuck it, man. We're going up to range EQ. I'm calling it now. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that's like, and I'll probably watch that happen over the next few days, over the long weekend. And perhaps that's the short that I actually will go back and try to capture as far as just getting into some trading again. Trading for me is a very labor intensive process. I'm very process oriented. It's it's journaling, it's tracking, it's writing it in to my Edgewonk journal. Like it's all of these things. And if I can't do that fully, I tend to just not do it at all. And like I said, so as an analyst, I think I've heard people say things like, well, you don't have any skin in the game. So, what's your analysis mean? I would argue that in the times over the last month or so that I've been doing a little less active futures trading, that my analysis has actually been more on point because I have no bias. You get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I don't have the position to back it, but then I don't give a shit. Like I'm fearless. I am emotionless. I am literally just looking at it like I don't care what happens if it goes up or down. I have no position. I'm going to tell you what the momentum says. I'm going to tell you what the analysis says. And it's actually, since I stopped being in a lot of the positions, a lot of my best analysis comes from positions I don't take. Oddly enough. And that's, it's like, believe what you want. But that's the data. That's the data I'm seeing. Let me go through our ideas section, and I'll tell you which ones of these. I don't think I took hardly any of these trades. They're just analysis that I see. They're ideas that I put up. You can see BAT here, calling 45 cents after the 28 breaks. Bing, right up to 44.5 cents. Okay, god damn it. I was off by half a cent. Right back into that level now, actually. Look at that. Zem. Did I take a position? No, but did it flip this support and turn it in, or flip resistance, turn it into support? Yep. How's it doing? Not bad. Swipe. Oh my god, here's a funny part. Swipe's the one I took. Look at this. Womp womp. It's actually right down at that 786 now, so there's still a play there, but like, go figure. One that I took. ONT also traded this because I got sick of this. I was like, yo, I'm gonna start trading my ideas because like they've been doing so well. Womp womp. Dusk also took, again, kind of turned my shit around. I was like, I'm gonna start trading these. Womp womp. So it's kind of funny how that works. I'm gonna fade my own shit because every time I trade these, I find when I'm in positions, it's a lot harder to see the forest for the trees, which is kind of standard trade psychology. So I'm actually doing a better service as an analyst, I think, when I just focus on analysis. Adam, great example. Did not trade the shit out of this like I should have been. I was analyzing the shit out of it for like since May, right since here. It did okay. Smacked first target, smacked the support we tracked on Twitter, ran like a madman. So actually, let's pull that up. That one's coming in. This is one that I've been. Oh God, I'm all spun up here. Let's go see Adam.
Look at that fucking bear dev. Oh,
What?
Just the hidden bear and like these higher highs on lower low momentum on daily time frames on Ethereum. It's just like, oh
yeah. Well, I mean, the writing is on the wall. If it does roll over, do get a trend reversal in a month, in 2 months through the election, whatever happens, like you can't say you weren't warned. There's just bear divs everywhere, loss of volume and momentum in a lot of places. At the very least, you can. Now look, pump chaser zone is in full effect for Adam. This, again, looks ugly, but it often does when it comes into a zone you should be buying. I don't think, I'm not going to sit here and say you should be buying, but like this is a zone where if you think we're in a big rip roaring bull, this is your time to shine. Given the higher time frames and how, how far we've come, and I do give some credence to the idea that this is the beginning of a trend reversal. If this range fails, then perhaps it's time to be thinking about RLZs instead of pump chasers, right? Pump chaser zone is great when you're in a rip roaring bull because it gets you in, get in, get off, get out. But like, once we're into this little more laissez-faire bull, maybe a little bit of a time to unwind. That's when you can get into these RLZs and these nice stinkier looking entries that are down at POC here at like 3,400. That'd be a nice entry. I'd be grabbing the shit out of that if we get that. Easy to say from here. When it arrives there, you're going to be like, is it going to new lows?
You have an advantage though because you have a plan, so you're being proactive versus reactive and panicky.
Yeah, and I also am very insistent on not caring if I get this coin or not. I like Adam. I'd love a free position. I'd love to bang out a double. But if I miss Adam because it doesn't hit my level, I'll catch something else that does hit my level, and that's the sort of date it, don't marry it thing.
I'm with you on it though. Like I've done lots of OTC stuff for Adam. It's in my network theory of layer 1, layer 2, and this is definitely something I'm looking to buy. I would looking to buy like a much larger bag. What's really interesting today though, is take a look at this DOS chart.
Yeah, let's flip over to yours and see dots. That's actually one that was on the top of my radar as far as like where can I buy a dip today? Like dots is one of them. How's it doing?
Let me know when we're up.
You're
there.
on.
Cool. Yeah, so we were talking yesterday, this 5.5 level, right? This was a super level of interest to hold and get long off of. Sure enough, today Look at that tappity tap 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 down there at 5.5. Sure enough, it holds the range lows. We don't even get the sweep. And look at the price reaction bounce off this. Like, clear, I know, we're still in this range here, but considering how everything else is literally fucking plummeting to the ground right now, look at this. A 15% bounce in the past 8 hours. Truly an uncorrelated asset on the day so far, at least. But yeah, I think this network is going to. I think it's early days, obviously.
Yeah.
I think this thing is going to run double digits. I think this thing is headed to number 3 asset within the next 6 months. If we do go on a bull run here after Q4 2020, yeah, I think this is headed to number 3. A lot of great stuff being built.
I'm hearing a lot of murmurs about projects moving from Ethereum to Polkadot. Do you think it has potential to take Ethereum's fire, like full-blown number 2, number 1? Like, because we're already talking about, is Ethereum going to supersede Bitcoin? Are we going to get a little crazy here and talk about the potential for Polkadot to be in that top 3, top 2, top 1?
Yeah. Top 1, bold. But I do think
I'm not telling. I'm asking. What do you think?
Scalability and interoperability at this point are probably the biggest things to push these high cap projects to really the next level. The project that can do that first is going to have a first mover advantage, and we will see a very fast migration of user what would be the word, high transactional demand projects, trading, Uniswap, stuff like that. Gaming projects would be another great example of that, where you're either going to have a second layer solution, or you're going to have to do transactions batched on another chain. I think Polkadot's, if they can really get their relay networks out there, and there's like demand in their auctions, which looks like there's going to be. Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of projects transitioning to Polkadot's. Not necessarily, they may not want to, but they may have to, just because of the scalability. It's all going to come down to how long does it take Ethereum to scale and roll out their.
How's ETH 2.0 going to go? And what are the second?
You can't run a business if you have to then pass these exuberant fees on to your users. You can't. That's not scalable at all. People won't pay it.
Yeah, and to speak to that, we were actually looking at Melon protocol yesterday to set up a decentralized fund. I think that's a cool idea. You get your trader buddies together, you'll put some money in, and you guys can kind of passively manage your own fund. People can come and buy and invest in shares or whatever. And to set it up, you have to fire off like 8 or so smart contracts and pay obviously the fees on that. So right now to set it up, it's over like $800 US. It should be like 100 or less, and it might actually be more than the 800. So I mean, the vibe there is like, yeah, this is just not a functional product right now, because again, and then if within the fund, every trade you make now is like going to be high fees, and again, that's going all into like your buddies and whoever invests in that fund. So not functional. Now TRX, so he wants to know what's going on with it. I can speculate, because I know Justin's son, and I'm pissed. I looked through my our Twitter tracker today to like find the chart that I put out on it. I don't even think I put it out. This was sort of a thesis of mine for August, because Justin's son, I can't even find it. He tweets a lot, but he did tweet at one point, basically said, we are going to be launching Just Swap, so like a Uniswap thing. We're going to be entering into DeFi and something about an Oracle. I mean, he used Swap, Oracle, and DeFi in one tweet, and I just saw that and I was like, oh shit. And then I looked at the chart and I was like, I think it was maybe the BTC chart at the time hadn't really rallied. Yeah, like this was the chart at the time, and it was rip face rally all over the market. And yeah, you can see I was charting it here. Let's see, I'll get rid of this. So and my thought, I think he did that somewhere around here. Yeah, it was early August, and I think it was on stream. There's a stream somewhere where I talked about it, but it basically was like, yeah, with that kind of a tweet coming out, you can just tell he's getting his engines going. I'm pretty fascinated and amazed that it's up 30% today versus USDT, despite all this. That's really good marketing for them. They could have easily done that themselves, just to be like, look at us. But who knows? I mean, there's some hype coming around that just swap, basically like a Uniswap on TRX or Tron protocol. This thing is just approaching its 382. Is it a buy right here? Hell no. This is the kind of thing you want to spot like we did back when he just started talking about that. That's your trade. That's your position of strength. At this point, the whole market's dipping. If you're bullish on things, there's opportunities everywhere. This is the opposite of that. This is like, I wouldn't say short it, but certainly the last asset you want to be thinking about longing today, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd be very careful playing in the mid caps.
Now, look, there's potential for an SR flip here. Right, I've got this level drawn up. We've broken through it. It's less clean on the 4 hour, but on the daily, it's a little nicer. So, what I always say, right? If you want to chase the pump, let's see what that looks like on TRX. And I would bring it up to this new low here. So let's go grab it. We'll bring it up.
I'd say you almost have to wait for the retrace.
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean, what the hell? I'm not buying friggin' 400 sat TRX. However, come back into this SR level. I guess in this, technically it hasn't confirmed support, but we'll take it green. Maybe wicks through, right? Like, and it could keep going up here because it's literally pumping as we speak. So, maybe it goes up here. Wherever it ends up, that's where you got to drag this fib to, and then you get your levels. Because these pump chaser zones tend to align with SR levels so often, I wouldn't even be shocked if like this is like a way to track, what we're doing right now, which is maybe we are going to go up until that 382 aligns. It's like a weird way to trade, but it often does work that way. Let's look at the extension levels, see if we can figure out where this might end up today. I think it's already blasted through this extension. I would be almost certain it has. Well, let's see. Yeah. So like that extension level drew right up into resistance. Let's see if we can use our chaos PRZ, which would be from this low up to this big old high. This is going to be way up there. And then would that put our pump chaser fib right on here? Yeah. I mean, you can have fun with this shit. This isn't like I'm playing around with TA right now. This isn't like I'm going to go trade this, but 4669 would drag up our pump chaser bottom into this key level. Would make a lot of sense. Fibs go both ways. They go every which way. So something to keep an eye on. TRX getting a big rally today. No clear reason why it feels so special, although I imagine it's to do with upcoming releases related to oracles and all that stuff we just talked about, DeFi. And Justin Sun running the hype engine. He's really good at that. And we are actually at the 382. So again, the pump chaser works because that fib level gets a lot of tags. It works the other way too. So coming back up into it. If I was still in my trade from down here, I probably would have had to take profit at this fib extension, which did tag at one point. Right. And that was this person, whoever, this is the initial take profiters. And then just plowed through. So my next one, probably right around here, 382. As you can see, someone else just did that. That's why it tagged and has pulled back a bit. So sellers are showing up. And since we are sort of in this dump day, it's not a day to buy the strength where you find it in the market as much as maybe just looking for some other bounces like we talked about with DOT. I'd like to see what DOT's doing.
Just got that tweet out. Like, just such an interesting chart. I'm just so fascinated with that network. The amount of capital flowing in there is insane. All the biggest holders are like the OG of the OG funds, strong hands, ironclad, not selling.
Yeah. Well, they see what they've got and they see the ETH network begging for a solution and the interoperability being fairly untouched.
10x is cool. 100x is sweet, but you want to know what's really cool? 1000x.
1000x, yeah. Well, I said that the other day. Like, I think what is it? Uniland, one of our pre-sales that's coming up in September. Really pumped for that to start trading, and I think it's going to have like a 1 or 2 mil market cap at our entry, which is not tiny. It's not micro, but it's pretty small on the whole. Call me crazy. I think if we end up in like a full next bull and you extend and show like what the whole next iteration of the high time frame logarithmic kind of shit, that could put Bitcoin, like gold in the Nasdaq, or gold, excuse me, the Nasdaq peaked at what, like 7.5 trillion during the dot-com bubble, something like that.
I don't know. Let's actually see.
Around 8 trillion or something. Like if Bitcoin gets to a place where it's in the 1 trillion kind of thing, which I've heard some people believe it will, then your top 100 crypto caps are all going to be over $1 billion, and things like BNB are going to be 100 billion. Like there's a whole other echelon of size that we could be headed for if there is like a massive adoption curve and adoption and next. So point being, something like Unilend, if we're thinking, hey, this is going to be like the DeFi platform, it's going to crush it, is a couple billion out of the picture for market cap through maybe the next 3 years? No. And that's
sliding again on the majors.
That's what's that?
Markets are sliding again here on the majors, just about here at range lows.
Okay, why don't you pull that up while I ramble about pipe dreams here?
Right, let's do it.
If something like Unilend, some of these projects here that are 1 or 2 million, if they go to a couple billion market cap in a few years, it's like 1,500x. I certainly would not hold that, because I'd be like at 100 or 200 or 600 or 700. I would not be like holding that profit. I'd be taking it because there'd be volatility through that. But like, yeah, I think there's a lot of funds, like you said, with DOT. Like these guys are thinking big. They're not rushing to sell $6 dots.
Imagine selling your Ethereum after the first week.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Imagine selling your Bitcoin after the first week.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? As much as everything I just said, yeah, pipe dreams for days. Like as much as everything I just said sounds maybe stupid to some people, and it's like, yeah, bro, moon boy. But like, you'll hear me on stream all the time. I'm conservative, man. I take profits. I miss longs. Like I'm not uber moon boy, but I'm here because I think that 1% to 5% of the world's value and wealth and whatever could slide into some form of crypto in the next 10 years.
Talk about that point right there. So there's an old comment from Hal Finney when he was first getting into Bitcoin. He estimated household wealth between 100 and 300 trillion dollars. If just 1% of that, I believe is 1%, moved into crypto, that's $10 million per Bitcoin.
Boom.
Now, obviously, that's going to be diversified through other asset classes. At the time when he was making those calculations, he was only assuming there would be one crypto, one Bitcoin.
Are you talking about Thomas Lee?
No, I'm talking about Hal Finney.
Because I heard Thomas Lee's thing in 2017. He talked about like the millennial sort of investing years and generational,
Sure. Yeah, like there's definitely a lot of different. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to get to the same conclusion, which just validates that conclusion, right?
I'm going to post the link to that because I want people to see it, because it was pretty cool. He said it when we were rallying up to 20K, so it just sounds silly now, but I don't think it's out of the.
No, I don't think either. And it kind of like, if you're a believer, and I'm not a believer in it, but like the stock to flow ratio model kind of has that. It's very, actually, you can apply this to so many different things, like the fat was it the fat protocol? No, not that one. The staircase. So basically, the idea is that application layers take a giant leap up, and then they consolidate for a while, and then you get the applications take a giant leap up when they're built on top of that, and then the protocol takes a giant leap up, and it's just this staircase effect, raising the floor every single time. And we've definitely seen that in Bitcoin. Plot Bitcoin over in 2-year increments. Generally, the price has risen at an exponential level every single time over time. So I definitely could see that trend continuing. And where we currently are on those scales, like the next step is going to be multiple $100 billion market networks here.
Yeah, and I think that's important. If you're thinking about these newer investments that are coming out in the more micro size, 1 to 10 million, 1 to 50 million. Not micro, but like everyone's thinking relative to current high caps. Could this someday be number 3, which would make it, whatever that is, 20 billion, 10 billion. But if it's going to get up there, those high caps are probably going to be up to way above. So it's all going to be relative, and I think the relative size of everything is going to increase dramatically if we're here for the right reasons, and if we're right about this whole friggin' paradigm shift in the next 10 years, right? I want to see this in 2021, 2022, and I think there's a good chance we'll get some serious rippage
I think we're about to complete a new paradigm, and it's all going to be driven by institutionalization on the backs of hyper Bitcoinization. I'm not like hyper Bitcoinization. If you're not familiar, it's essentially the rapid devaluation of everything against Bitcoin. So imagine like a hyperinflation scenario in the U.S. dollar or the Chinese yuan or the euro or something like that. That would lead to the idea of hyper Bitcoinization taking hold. Yeah, I think it could happen. I think inevitably all these fiat currencies will inflate. I just don't think it's going to happen in the time frames that people think or would want that to happen. A complete hyperinflation rapidly across the globe would probably mean the end of civilized society as we know it.
Yeah. Good luck spending your Bitcoin.
Yeah. Like if you're familiar with like what happened in Bosnia, you can look it up. Like they very quickly went to bartering, and guess what the currency was? I learned this the other day. It was ammunition. If you didn't have ammo, you couldn't buy anything. Ammo was that's what people reverted to. So some food for thought. If anything ever actually does shit hits them. Nobody cares about gold and silver in that type of scenario. Let's just say that.
Just walking around with my gold coins in my pouch to buy some milk.
Like, okay, what can I say?
Hey, let's take a look. Let's market is let's switch back to my chart here. Paul asked about singles. This thing is at this level that's like what a sick grab if you did do that and it does work out. I mean, you can't get too much more snipey than this. My setup clearly would have been stopped out. This is another one of those on my list of things I did analysis on. I think I actually did grab a position at one point on this dip here, like on that breakout. I might have, just traded that little move, but honestly, don't remember. But I definitely had some at some point, but I don't right now. And yeah, it's right at the support. I mean, well, this is the thing. Like, a lot of people, they come into these big rallies. Like, let's just even look at, thinking about back to TRX. You look at that pump that it's on today. And what are you thinking? You're thinking like, oh man, I wish I bought here. Like, okay, shout out to Hxro Labs Live because we actually did talk about it down in this level, and we got this bearish or we got this bullish, Wyckoff. It's easy to look at it up here and be like, oh, I wish I grabbed that because your trade is done. You have no risk. You already made your money. You can get the fuck out. It's much different, and I'll use singles as an example because that's what we're looking at. It's much different to actually be in that moment when it was down there, like we are right now, and go and pick it up and then hold it. I don't see any major catalysts for singles. So like with TRX at that level, we just looked at, like there was, Justin Sun tweeting about oracles and DeFi, like that was writing on the wall, like shit's coming up and he's probably going to pump the shit out of it. But I don't see that for singles. So it's a bit of a different situation. This thing could, what has it been down here since like June? It's been down here for about 13 months. So if you got to be patient with this one, you got to be ballsy because
this is probably the ugliest chart I've ever seen in the history of fucking charts. Oh my god! This thing was at 30,000. I was looking at the chart. I was looking at the daily. I'm like, wow, this is the great support level to be buying. And then I zoom out. I'm like, oh god, oh gee. Did it again. Can you hear me? Or is it both of us? Okay, I'm just seeing what the crowd says. Sounds dead. Dude, this fucking singles chart, oh my god. They say like it's already fallen 99%. Never estimate how a chart even after falling 99%, can't fall another 99%. New lows, S&P 500 right now. New lows, intraday trading on the S&P. This is a key level on S&P here. If it breaks it, this thing is headed back to 3,400. Okay, you guys can hear me. Fantastic. So you heard me really shit on that fucking chart then. Look at that thing. Like I get it. Like at a daily level, this thing is like, wow, what a fucking opportunity to be buying. But I got to think to myself after a drop like this, literally the entire world is bag holding this coin. And what's like you said, what's going to be the catalyst for this? How does this thing regain any of these highs? Like, what are they doing?
Well, they're still developing.
Okay.
And what I was going to get into
um,
say, I don't know if
okay.
John's here right now. I just pinged him about sound. He hasn't got back to me. We're going to see. I guess my point is, Paul's a TRI guy, as am I, and basically it's just like, buying these lows, patience, small positions, and they rally, man. Oh, okay. Looks like sound is back. Okay, so like they rally, and I want to see. Let's see Gamb. Let's pull up Gamb. I'll give you an example. This is one like I'm amazed literally every day. Every day there's some crazy shitcoin rally. Um, Somebody's banged out a double. So let's look at Gamb. Pull up my chart. Yeah, okay. So like, this is the kinds of traders who are buying these lows on a shitcoin. Like I don't know what Gamb does. If you love this coin, sorry. Like it's just a random one, as far as I can tell. And like, but then this hits, and somebody's just banged out like a double. Oh, I sold another double. I sold another double, and they're just collecting. What's another one from? I think even today, Ubic. One that I know Brian's like, look at this. What the hell's Ubic doing? I don't know. Look at this ugly ass chart. Oh my God, right? Like this chart, again, dead. But what's Brian doing over at TRI? He's buying off these lows. And today, when everything's raining, he's banging out a double, banging out a. So yeah, singles is just another one of those. The thing is, these aren't sexy. They're not hot. They're not DeFi. They're not new. And you could be sitting in them for months. Give you another little example of this, because Syscoin was another one of these, right? I mean, they actually arguably were doing some pretty big shit, apparently. I've been hearing. Yeah. So they're an older coin. This is like the Binance chart, doesn't have as much history. But again, these lows, boring as hell, sitting around all spring, actually since last August, right? But pushing up against these highs, and most of these guys over at TRI who are running that same system we're talking about with sell half and a double, and um, they're banging out doubles, 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 doubles. They probably got like 4 or 5 out of here, selling on 2x, 4x, 8x, 16x. So to your point, what the hell is singles doing? I don't think it matters, and I think that's the thesis that Brian puts into the market, which is that when these things go, when crypto rallies, all of these little shit coins and positions are going to rally. That's the thesis. I mean, as long as they have an active GitHub, as long as they have an active product, as long as they have a team who's working, they'll get their day. Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's and well, to be fair, I'm not in this position, but I see the argument for accumulating along these lows, and obviously someone else does because there's some big buy volume. Now, here's the caveat emptor. You don't start this kind of a strategy, this sort of buying off the lows, until you get a weekly W, until you get a clean bullish market structure, which in this case we did here, where you have a low, you have a, oh God, the magnet's on, you have a higher low, and then you have that breakout, which is this white dotted line. And that's when you start doing these stinky little things down here. And of course, now we're down here. So good luck, waiting, because most people don't have the patience for this stuff. It takes incredible patience, balls of steel. and very tiny positions. I would be willing to bet that Brian and some of the guys over at TRI have over 100 of these positions on these little stinkers. They have their orders working and they have their alerts working, and they'll just forget about it. It's like 0.5% of their portfolio, 0.02% of their portfolio. And they've got 100 of these things working. And every time they hit, they get that double, they get that money back, and they go plant it somewhere else. And by the time we get into a rip roaring bull in, whatever year that is, they're going to have hundreds of free positions working. And each time they double. And of course, like you just saw, when you zoom out, how many doubles are in here, right? So when we get into that, if we get into that, and all these names, if they do end up running, I mean, just even getting up to old highs is like 50x. So you're looking at like whatever that is, 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 exponential doubles. So, my 2 cents. Paul asked.
It's a good strategy.
I think it's a different strategy, and I think if new trends come along like DeFi and yams, you're going to miss those because your liquidity is locked up in a lot of these, and that's why I don't actually use that strategy myself. I use that risk management model as far as selling half on doubles and pulling my buy back out, but planting tiny little seeds all over the market. I tried it last year and I didn't like it because when big things happen, or maybe I get some information about something that I just is like, oh, this month this is going to be hot. I want to trade that with size. I don't want to be running around selling, 50 little mini positions. So that's just my 2 cents, but can't argue with the stats, man. I think he turned $500 into 100K from 2015 to 2017.
That's sick.
Doing this exact strategy just as like a model to show how it works. So it's not bad, but it's not my style. Speaking of style, what time is it? Yeah, we're about an hour and 20 in. Has the volatility cooled off? Let's do a bit of a summative wrap. I don't want to just ditch, but we do have work to do today. Planning some new stuff, and we want to get on that. I think our graphics guy pinging us. Yeah, hourly is working for sure. It's not confirmed. Let's take a look at the 30.
There's just such a big. I'm talking about on ETH. Yeah, but like there's definitely, besides the 30-minute, I don't see any other high time frame bull div or anything. Even the 15-minute got canceled.
Those reversals, they all start on the lowest time frame, right? Like reversals start on the 1 minute, as they say. So looking at the 30 here, I'm still leaning towards being done for today, keyword, but that's just a lean. I'd say 70% lean. And the fun with probability is that if it does continue dumping, technically I wasn't wrong because I said there's a 30% chance it will. But and that's like, it's a shitty thing to say, or it's like people don't want to hear that, right? They just say, tell me for sure what's going to happen. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. In fact, if you speak in absolutes, you're just signing yourself up to sound like a fool because, you just don't know. And even if you know, you don't know. So the weatherman, somebody bitching about the weather. These guys suck. They said 90% chance of rain. I'm like, yeah. So they said 10% chance of no rain. Yeah, dumbass. And I got a little aggressive, and I'm a big nerd, and I don't make a lot of friends that way. So I toned it down. But look, there's a weak ass divergence, bruv. It's a little bit there. It's kind of there. But I don't even like that one as much, the 3 hour. But on the Bitcoin 1 hour, I do see a bit more of a pronounced, that's the 30. That's just from today. But like on the 1 hour, you get a much bit more pronounced one from like yesterday.
The garbage truck almost flipped over.
What?
Just going so fast down the road, he hit a rock and almost flipped over. I shit you not.
Squirrel.
Like a full-blown truck. Fucking insane.
Oh my god. Okay, so yeah, I mean, there's some signs of this slowing, and that makes sense because we're at range lows. So there's definitely a lot of traders, a lot of whales, a lot of market makers, whoever you want to call it, who are putting moves on here. and we'll see. It swept the lows for now. It could just fucking tank to oblivion. I wouldn't be all that shocked, to be honest, because in general, we're just pretty inflated with new money, and there's a squeeze to be had. The market will generally take it. But my 2 cents is that we're going to stop here today and get a nice bounce, get everyone nice and bullish again, get up into these short RLZs like this, which is the one I'll be watching. There's the dump chaser. Don't know if I want to be that aggressive. Really like to be up into here. This is what I'll be watching through the week. If I can get up into here, then maybe I'll think about being a bear, whatever. And for
weekly looks so fucking.
To be fair, you were saying, "Oh my god," at my thing I just said, but in my defense, sir, I was saying this last week, right here. I think it was Thursday last week, and it was the same shit. And everyone's like, "Hey, man, we're going to lose," and I was like, "Nah, we got some levels here, and we're probably heading up to short RLZ. This is where I would get short if I was going to short, and there's a setup there." And everyone thought I was stupid and crazy because they're feeling bearish. Well, look what we did, right? Never looks like it's going to do the thing it's going to do until it does the thing. So there you go. There was no short that came in here, but at least I didn't, short this, and there was no short that ended up coming in. Sadly, there was a short that ended up coming in here, but it was like 1 a.m. my time, and I was fast asleep. So, but let's take a look. In a few days, actually tomorrow is Friday, we'll be back on here with a proper show, a little bit more organization, and look forward to seeing you guys back. Yeah, so Linus, tomorrow. Oh, and Monday is a holiday, but we're going to do a special edition, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So that will take us right through the daily close. Now, Nick, this might be the first you're hearing of this.
It is.
So if you can't make it, you're forgiven. John and I, the producer, were talking about this last night. It's kind of an up north weekend for a lot of people. I think there's going to be a lot of people probably looking at crypto, but a lot of people doing holiday stuff. 2 p.m. on a holiday Monday just seemed really weird, and it makes sense for everyone involved to come in and just watch the daily close on Monday live and kind of get us all back in the groove coming into the week. So we're going to do a 7:30 Monday. That's 4:30 for you, Nick. I hope you can make it. If not, I'm going to run it. Might even have a guest. We'll see. But if you're good to go, that's perfect. And then, so special edition Monday at 7:30. But we'll be back tomorrow. So that's all water under the bridge for now. We'll be back on tomorrow at, what is it? It's almost that time now. So in just about 2 p.m. tomorrow. So in about 24 hours, we'll be back. So thanks for coming by today, guys. Emergency broadcast. I hope you enjoyed your time with us. And if you did, hit us with a like, hit us with a sub, all that stuff. And I hope we bounce here, not only because I said I think we will, but because that would really feel much better than continuing.
Let's go lower.
Oh, your shorts are showing yet to the moon.
Let's go.
So anyways, guys, have a wonderful day. And whatever you do today, just be careful and always play from a position of strength. Take care.
Love this.
Was that we get our outro there?